Good morning, everyone. Good morning, my house guests. Come on in, have a seat. Let me pour you some cold iced tea on the Blake Lively lawsuit. This is House of Chatter, and I am your house queen, Emmy. And we are taking a look at the Blake Lively lawsuit. And today we are looking at Blake Lively's original complaint compared to what we know now, based off of depositions, based off of some pop culture websites. We're going to be focusing on the first paragraph of her first complaint. We're going to be looking at Wayfair's mission and how they are representing themselves, not only in the deposition, just to give you a little bit of background on them. We're also going to look a lot at Todd Black and his involvement in the post production, why he is a VIP, and we are going to examine the question or take a look at the question: did she use him to get a better chance at box office bonuses or box office awards, or maybe not only box office hits, but also awards so that she can get her bonuses based off of her, what is it, act out, loan out agreement. Um, and with that, we'll also look at, did she feel that maybe the current editors of Wayfair weren't award worthy, or maybe were too green to gain awards? Because after all, she's after 106 million dollars in damages for reputation, and she made $37 million off of the movie. Um, and she could have gotten a lot more if she gotten Academy Awards, an Oscar, things like that. So let me start reading the first paragraph, and in that we'll just dissect a few things as we go along. So I'm going to toggle between a couple of windows. I am so sorry. And where is everybody tuning in from? And what time is it? I am broadcasting from the Pacific Northwest. It is currently 6:30. My brain is still waking up. So this is Blake Lively's first complaint. No amendments, no changes. The original one. Okay. Plaintiff Blake Lively, Miss Lively, brings this action for damages against Wayfair Studios. Now, the damages include the SH and S, or the SH part, right, which is under $500,000, and then the rest of the damages, as we'll see at the end of the lawsuit, is reputation and harm to her businesses. So, um, Justin Baldoni, I'm sorry, against Wayfair Studios LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, Justin Baldoni, an individual, Jamie Heath, and Steve Sarowitz, an individual. So let's take a look at what Wayfair, or how Wayfair represents themselves to the public per their website. Okay. Wayfair Studios is an independent studio actively developing, producing, and fully financing a slate of high original genre defining and globally impactful feature films, episodic television, documentaries, unscripted series, and podcasts. Co-founded by Justin Baldoni and Steve Sarowitz, and led by CEO Jamie Heath and President Tara Hanks, the studio's work highlights the power of human connection, debunking the traditional studio model by championing inspirational stories that serve as true agents for social change. That is their mission, okay, per their website. And let's see. Jamie Heath, in his deposition, describes it this way. The question is, what is Wayfair's purpose as a company? The answer, by Jamie Heath. We want to make art that lifts the human spirit, that speaks to things that oftentimes don't have an opportunity to be commercial. They don't have to be commercial, but oftentimes they don't have a path. To give filmmakers, sometimes new filmmakers, opportunities to make movies, to tell stories that a lot of people may not see are worth telling. And as I say, and my CFO gets mad at me all the time, is we want to make things that, and then it's the end of his deposition. So I'll go back. That's a little bit of background of what Wayfair is. So I'll go back to the complaint and continue reading. Okay, and then we're bringing in Melissa Nathan, an individual, the agency group PR LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, and Jennifer Abel, an individual. And for the record, Jennifer Abel is asking for indemnification from Stephanie Jones, who works at Jones Works LLC, who used to be Justin Baldoni's PR firm. And then we continue, an individual and allege as follows. On January 4, 2024, prior to resuming filming of It Ends With Us, the film, following guild strikes, an all-hands meeting was convened in New York to address the hostile work environment that had nearly derailed production of the film. So, do you really think that the hostile work environment, as we're just stating it now, really delayed production of the film? Because there is a report from Justin Baldoni's body double, who also worked with Blake Lively on a different movie, says this. And this is from the New York Post, dated, is this 2/6/2025? And I'm going to butcher this guy's name. Castrano said that he was supposed to be on set in New Jersey for only 5 days. So remember, they budgeted 5 days. But due to production issues, he was there for 2 weeks. Now, what those production issues were, I'm not sure, but 2 weeks is a lot of money to spend on someone who you just budgeted for 5 days. So we'll go back to the complaint, and my computer's frozen. Oh, what are you doing? Hi, girly. How are you doing? The Raffle Proser says, I think Bletch is full of shite. Yes, that may be true. And, that is said very tactfully in a couple of depositions. Okay. So, an all-hands meeting to address the hostile work environment that had nearly derailed the production of the film. Now, this is where we get to the attendees, or what I like to call the witnesses. Attendees of the meeting included Justin Baldoni, who was the co-chairman and co-founder of Wayfair Studios, LLC, and this states the owner of the film, which is important. So we'll keep that in mind, as well as the director, executive producer, and actor in the lead role of Ryle Kincaid. Jamie Heath, the chief executive officer of Wayfair and producer of the film. Angie Giannetti, the film's representative for its distributor, Sony Pictures Entertainment to be exact. Alex Sachs, a producer on the film. Todd Black, a producer on the film. And then Miss Lively, who played the role of Lily Bloom in the film. So I'm going to stop right there. This next part goes into the meeting and what happened. So I will focus on, right now, Angie Giannetti and Todd Black. So where did they come from? Well, they came from the 17-point agreement that was agreed upon or given in November. And I'll read the part where it involves Angie Giannetti first. And this is point 11 in the nudity rider. Except as otherwise agreed by artist, while artist is on set, Sony must have a mutually approved representative. Angie Giannetti is hereby approved on set for the remainder of the rehearsal and shooting days, including on a closed set, to actively supervise the production, including monitoring the safety of the cast and crew, ensuring compliance with the schedule, and overseeing logistics, problem solving, and creative issues. Point number 12 of the nudity rider. Wayfair will engage an additional experienced A-level producer approved by artist. Todd Black is hereby approved. The approved producer to actively supervise the production, including monitoring the safety of the cast and crew, ensuring compliance with the schedule, and overseeing logistics, problem solving, and creative issues, provided that company shall have the right to approve the agreement with the approved producer. So that is Todd Black. Why did Blake Lively want Todd Black? Well, let's take a look at Todd Black's background, shall we? And maybe this has to do with her bonuses that were in her, was it actor loan-out agreement, where she got paid extra if she got an Oscar? So Todd Black is an American film producer. He's made films from 1988 all the way to, he's got movies coming out until 2026. So he's a very experienced producer for both movies and television. However, he is also very acclaimed. So he produced The Pursuit of Happiness, The Taking of Pelham 123, The Equalizer, I love that movie, Southpaw, The Magnificent Seven, Fences, for which he received an Academy Award for Best Picture nomination with Scott Rudin and Denzel Washington. I don't think I've ever seen Fences or heard of it. But he was, he made good movies and he was up for an award. Now, if we compare that to what Wayfair had as far as their portfolio and their movies, we have in 2019, 5 Feet Apart, which was acclaimed, but on their website, it doesn't list their awards or anything like that. And then you jump to 2024, the next film that Wayfair produced. This one has Will Ferrell, and it's called Will and Harper. It's a documentary. It's an intimate portrayal of friendship, transition, and America. So, this in 2024, it got a world premiere at Sundance Film Festival. In 2024, it was selected for the Telluride Film Festival, and it premiered in Toronto. So it's not um, a lot of these movies, they didn't have the acclaim or the awards that would have gotten Blake Lively more money, or at least in my opinion, more money. And also with Todd Black, he was there during the meeting, like I said, but also there was an article that came out with the headline, "No one wants to work with Blake Lively right now." Now let me see. Okay. And let me read this to you. This is from Yahoo, and this was also on News Nation. This is dated back February 6, 2025. So after the lawsuit came out. And I'm so sorry, my computer is so slow. So how is everybody feeling about Todd Black? Just based off what we know right now. So it starts off, Blake Lively is up against a wall, facing several lawsuits stemming from the movie It Ends With Us. But, oops. Now my computer's going too fast. Hang on just a second. Let me get back to it. Interesting. I didn't know this before. It is interesting. I kind of wanted to, like, we know so much information now, and it's so much that, you kind of have to compare and contrast almost. You know what I mean? And okay. I'm getting back up to there. So it just talks about the lawsuit. Um, and it says Baldoni claims Lively held up production on several occasions, which costs millions. So that's probably where Steve Sarowitz was like, I lost millions of dollars on this movie. And a producer that Lively hired quit once and had to be rehired at 3 times his original salary to be coaxed back onto the project. Again, this is on Yahoo News that I'm reading this from. That producer, sources tell me, is the Oscar nominated producer Todd Black, who helmed Antwone Fisher and Fences. Black is said to have been the producer who witnessed Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, tear into Baldoni during a meeting. According to the lawsuit, one of the film's producers who was present said that in his 40-year career, he had never seen anyone speak to someone like that in a meeting, while the Sony representative mentioned that she would often think of that meeting, and her one regret is that she didn't stop Reynolds' berating of Baldoni. Who was that Sony representative? Angie. So both of these guys had great remorse after this movie. However, they still chose to work with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Now, is that because they wanted to work with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, or is it because they had contractual obligations with Wayfair Studios, and maybe they had a kind heart and wanted to get the movie over the finish line to benefit um, domestic violence victims and no more? I would like to think that Sony has a warm heart. Otherwise, maybe they're just trying to cover their booty. So, why is Todd Black a VIP? Well, I'll tell you in a second if my computer stops freezing. So, Blake Lively and Todd Black were in the editing together, right? So, editing started February 22nd, 2024. Baldoni starts his first day back in the edit bay with his two editors. Okay. February 24, 2024, Heath and Baldoni are informed of Lively's request made through the A-list producer to join Baldoni in the editing bay. Now, according to Just Jared, that A-list producer, and it does cite the lawsuit, is Todd Black. It's funny how Todd Black just keeps on reappearing. So if you look at the timeline, and I'm assuming this is after they've had to rehire him at 3 times the pay. Heath and Baldoni are informed of Lively's request made through the A-list producer to join Baldoni in the editing bay. So Blake Lively asked her, looks like Blake Lively, I believe, asked this producer to be in the editing bay. She also expressed that she had limited time before leaving to shoot her next film in April. If she could not be involved in the edit with Baldoni, she could not promise to promote the film. In doing so, Lively knowingly infringed on Baldoni's DGA protected editing time. And this is what Sony knew. February 25th, 2024. Baldoni sends a group text to Lively and the A-list producer, i.e. Todd Black, to inform her that he still needs a couple of weeks to get the film into presentable shape. He proposes having Lively join the editing process during the week of March 18, 2024. Lively responds that she would like to be in the passenger seat with him and wants to get started as soon as possible. February 25, 2024, Baldoni sends a text to his editors to inform them of the situation. And this is the part where everybody's kind of freaking out. It says, Editor 1, hey, just checking in. Hope you're hanging in there. We're going to get through this. Damn. And then it goes on. Justin Baldoni, thanks for checking in. I've sat with it, and I think the best path forward spiritually, again, and what's best for the movie is that I suck it up and let her in. Now, these are after the accusations and the 17-point agreement, how Blake Lively can never be alone with this guy because he's such a horrendous, awful person. Editor number 2 says, we got you. And then February 26, 2024, Baldoni responds to Lively's request to be in the passenger seat. Despite her infringement on his DGA protected time and met with Lively's threats, Baldoni let her know that he will reach out at the end of the week to update her on the progress, still attempting to be encouraging in order to keep her happy. Now, we all know what happens when Blake Lively is not happy, right? It's not just, I'm not happy, I'm going to stomp my feet and not go to the premiere. It's literally, I'm not happy, I'm going to physically threaten you, i.e., what Ryan Reynolds did through WME, in my opinion, allegedly. So we're going through the text message. They're going back and forth in the text messages. February 28, 2024, Baldoni and Heath connect with the senior marketing executive to determine the best path forward with Lively regarding her desire to be involved in the edit and how they can all stay aligned. After the call, the Sony executive expresses to Baldoni, "We are all in it with you. At the end of this pain is a big win." Sony is acknowledging Blake Lively's toxic behavior. Okay. And this is a point that I'll get to a little bit later, but I'm glad that they have this. So they're still going through it. And then March 8, 2024, Baldoni and Wayfair enlist Screen Engine to recruit a 100-person group, 90% female, to watch the current cut and provide feedback. Baldoni uses these results to further refine his director's cut. He shares the results and scorecards with Lively ahead of their planned collaboration in the edit. Note, this is not an official audience test screening. March 9th, 2024, Baldoni shares the assembly cut of the film with Lively, informs her about the mini audience testing. Now, in it, she's nice, right? Initially. So here's a text message. "Hey Blake, you should have the movie in your inbox. I'm very happy with where it is and looking forward to your thoughts. See you Monday. Can't wait to watch. Thanks for sending tonight. Speak soon." Justin Baldoni loves the comment. And then he says, "Hey guys, just for my own, oh my God, edification, I hired Screen Engine to recruit a 100-person, 90% woman group to watch the cut I sent you. It played great and scored top 2 box office boxes with all females at a 90. Looking forward to Monday. Thanks, Justin." Blake Lively. "That's great. Please send the full breakdown. Would love all scores as well as cards. It's invaluable info as we dive in." And then he says, "We'll send it as soon as I have it. Being compiled now into a spreadsheet." So she is happy to Baldoni, but we know in the depositions when they deposed, I believe it was her agent from WME, he cited in his deposition that she wasn't happy about Justin Baldoni's screening. So it just looks like she's playing both sides, in my opinion, allegedly. So what do you think about Todd Black? Todd Black was in her 17-point agreement. And I'm going to stop here because there's another piece to the first paragraph, and it's heavily on the meeting. And I'll focus on that second half probably tomorrow. But what do you think about Todd Black and her insistence on having him in the editing bay with her basically through the entire process? So there's nothing dropped, in between her absence and in between the negotiations part. Do you think she hired Todd Black because she wanted to make a movie that was Oscar nomination worthy? and maybe get some more bonuses and maybe get some more cash. You know, it'd be great accolades for her as a producer credit, which I'll state that in her complaint, she says that she's an actress, but she was also an executive producer per her actor loan on agreement. And she was also a producer per her PGA credit. But she doesn't add that in there. So, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about at least the stunt double complaining that he had to stay 2 weeks versus 3 days? Because, mind you, also in that 17-point agreement, it also talks about body doubles and how body doubles can be together, but Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni can't. And we'll go into that a little bit later. So, this is what I got for you. I'm going to go take a little bit of a nap before the kiddos wake up. Let me know what you think. Subscribe, comment, share on everywhere. And we'll talk more tomorrow. Thanks, house guests, and have a beautiful day and a beautiful Sunday. Bye.